Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video and another episode of my Mick Schumacher career mode. And today we are here for round number 6 for the Canadian Grand Prix. Round number 6 out of 17 now, making our way well into the halfway point of the season. And coming to this race, no real changes in the pack. The upgrades did arrive a couple of races ago for Spain, and those are in full effect as Ferrari, McLaren and Williams are trying to see if their improved pace can get them anywhere near the top of the grid. There's a lot of rumours going around for the next race for big upgrades, and apparently McLaren have a massive upgrade for the next race, along with potentially maybe Haas as well for their home race, who want to really try and get themselves up the order, but there's no real clarification on that just yet. But apparently for the next race though, Haas and McLaren are looking for big strides up the field yet again. In terms of more rumours in the paddock, nothing really is set in stone. Apparently Jaguar might be actually testing a prototype power unit in Silverstone, but that's in a couple of races time, so we're still a little bit away from that, so we're sort of still waiting on any more news. But for now, the pecking order, it is what it is, and currently we are here for qualifying on Saturday at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. And in qualifying, it was extremely close between the Ferrari, Mercedes and Porsches. Actually, the Red Bulls struggled for a bit of pace in practice, and in qualifying you can see Vettel was leading the way on his lap. Mick Schumacher currently in P12, now P13. The Sauber actually going quite nicely around this circuit, and Sauber felt quietly confident about their race pace more than their qualifying pace. But going to the hairpin, you can see Mick gains a couple of places up into 13th once again there, but Vettel still leads the way, only for a little bit longer, until Alonso now takes over in the Porsche on the back stretches, where they've been dominating all weekend. That Porsche is so quick on the straights, breaking the speed trap records and absolutely flying in the final sector. As we now go through the final chicane, Mick gets a fantastic run through there to get himself just into the top 10 as we go up to the finish line, and that is going to be the end of the qualifying lap and the end of the session. Alonso bags himself a first ever pole position for the first time since 2012, and a first one with Porsche, and Mick just about creeps into the top 10. But like I said, running you through the qualifying results, Alonso first pole position since the 2012 Spanish Grand Prix, I believe, at Valencia, sorry, not Valencia, at Spain, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken. So a long way away from Alonso's first pole there. The only man into 1 minute 10s, ahead of Sebastian Vettel, who joins him on the front row. Lewis Hamilton and Esteban Ocon are on the second row. Ocon getting a good qualifying there in the second Porsche. Valtteri Bottas and Kimi Räikkönen making an all-finish third row on the grid, with Bottas leading the second Ferrari, with an all-Red Bull fourth row. Gasly and Verstappen just lacking a little bit of pace around this circuit, and overall though extremely close. The top 8 covered by 4.5 seconds, and 2.5 tenths separate second from 8th place, so it's extremely close and anybody can take it. In terms of the rest of the top 10, Hulkenberg and Mick Schumacher round it out, with Hulkenberg beating his fellow German by 16 thousandths of a second. And also, just as a disclaimer, I realised I said seconds before, I meant tenths of a second, just a disclaimer before you write the angry comment. In terms of the second half of the table, Charles Leclerc leads out the second half and just missing out on the top 10 there, only just shy of his teammate Mick Schumacher, with Daniel Ricciardo also within the same tenth of a second, joining him on row number 6. Carlos Sainz and Sergio Perez on row 7, the second Renault leading the first Jaguar, with Stoffel Van Dorn only managing P15 in the McLaren ahead of Daniel Kvyat, with Romain Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen making in a penultimate Haas row ahead of the Williams cars, who really struggled around here, even with their upgraded package, to really get any sort of pace or find any real performance, with Pascal Wehrlein leading the home favourite Lance Stroll home for P19. And that is going to be your top 20 grid, extremely close in some areas, especially that top 8, so it's going to be really, really tasty, and it's going to be a good race. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys are too. Drop a like if you're excited, and without further ado, it's time for the Canadian Grand Prix. Right then, here we go, getting ready for the 5 red lights for the Canadian Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go from P10 on the grid. It's a pretty good start. Hulkenberg off to a phenomenal start, 3 wide up ahead. We got back out of it, and make sure we keep our front wing in one piece. Got to be careful, no space through here. It's all very narrow and tight through this opening part of the lap here, and overall a lap around here is pretty close, neck and neck, and side by side with Charles Leclerc here into the chicane. Charles is going to look for the outside line, but just doesn't quite make it stick. So right now we remain in the same position, P10 for now. Let's see what our race pace is like. I'm looking forward to this race. I do enjoy Canada. It's a track that I've always gone pretty well at, and the AI don't seem to be that quick around here, or not as fast as other tracks, so we might have a chance here on race pace to do make something happen. Qualifying pace wasn't great, but you know, on Sundays is when the races are won and when you get to score the points, so hopefully we can score a good result here. Hopefully, I'm hoping Leclerc can also score some solid points and really get a good finish, and I want to see him score some more points. But so far we're looking good here, just sitting pretty behind Nico Hulkenberg at the moment. Okay, we're looking okay for straight line speed here. I'm slowly catching the Renault, not close enough for a dive into the final corner, but it's good to know that we are okay for straight line speed around here, which is a good thing. So hopefully we can make some moves. Once the DRS gets enabled, that should be a very this should be a very comfortable overtake. So let's wait for it, unless I can pass him before DRS, which I would prefer. The Porsches look really strong around here, I've got to say. They look absolutely untouchable. Their straight line speed is really powerful, especially in that final sector, which is where they really make up some time. So they're going to be pretty hard to beat here today. Okay, into the hairpin. The pressure is being put on big time now, and we are really close to Hulkenberg. We're a little bit closer than last lap, so this time I might be able to get the slipstream. Also, Hulkenberg doesn't have as much slipstream on Verstappen as he did in the last lap. So here we go, getting the slipstream, opting for the outside as Hulkenberg goes defensive into the chicane. Hulkenberg, though, holds the inside line, and I'm going to back out of that. I'm not going to try and go side by side through there because it's never going to end well. There's a massive battle kicking off up ahead, though, and literally everyone's going for it. Alonso, on the other hand, is absolutely running away with it at the front. We've got the Red Bull side by side here, and we've just lost the slightest bit of end play, I think, touching Nico Hulkenberg there, and we're talking barely nothing. The front wing is still green, but still just the slightest bit of front wing damage. Someone's going slow here in this train, and I think it's a Mercedes from what I can see in the distance. This is going to be an opportunity to get past Hulkenberg here as he brakes early. So does Verstappen, actually, so we're going to go up the inside of him as well. Verstappen, though, responding, holding it on the inside. We're forced out to the outside here, side by side with the Red Bull. What are we like for straight line speed? Can we out drag the Red Bull? Yes, we do. And we just edge in front, and look at this, it's all kicking off 3 wide here. Gasly, Vettel, Raikkonen, something's not right, and I can't put my finger on it as we get a massive bit of oversteer on the exit. Someone's going slow, and I don't know which car it is who's triggering all this trouble, but into the hairpin, we lock up, Raikkonen locks up. At the moment, we're making up the positions here without meaning to. I just squeezed out Gasly without really giving him too much space. Unfortunately, that was my fault. But now DRS is enabled, and look at this, we're on the back foot, the Red Bulls are coming at me. I've got Gasly to my left, Verstappen just boxed in behind. On the brakes, Gasly goes around the outside. Ocon into the pit lane, Gasly goes for the move. I'm going to switch back underneath. Very nice. And there we go, we've managed to make the move work. We've got past the Red Bull somehow, was not expecting that. And Ocon has come in, so I'm guessing he was the one that had the car problem. That would be my guess. Alonso, on the other hand, he has vanished into the distance, long gone. He is off already. He's got some incredible pace around here, Fernando Alonso. Here comes Pierre Gasly, he's going to have DRS on me. Does he got the inside? Yes, he does. He's gone for the move. I'm going to go on the outside. Can I hold it? It's going to be close, but we do pull it off. We managed to hold it around the outside of the chicane. We've also got the Ferraris battling just in front of us here. Kimi and Sebastian going to war. So it's all kicking off. Battles everywhere so far in this race as we close up to the back of the red cars. I think this pace we have is just purely because of the battling, because look at the entire field. We're all on the same part of the racetrack here. It's not necessarily a case of the AI going slow or that we're going really fast in this car. I think it's just a big, massive scrap between everybody at the moment. Again, we're all sort of DRSing each other here, so no one's really going to make any major moves. Gasly for sure this time isn't going to get the run on me. I've got DRS on Raikkonen. Vettel, on the other hand, is vulnerable, and the Ferraris are going side by side into the chicane. That's never going to end well. Oh dear. Ooh. Okay, that's nice. Nice reactive driving. We've managed to cut our way through somehow, and we've edged out in front of Sebastian, and we're into P3 as a lock up into turn 1, but we're into the podium position somehow just by driving cautiously and making the moves. That was a lovely bit of reactive driving. They're just evading the contact, and we're into the podium places. So now, for a change, I'm going to try and stretch these guys and see if I can make this pack quite interesting and try and solidify this position. I've got absolutely no inclination or idea if my pace is going to be good enough for a podium. I just don't know at all. But at the moment it definitely is, because everyone's struggling for pace, so we're going to try and run away with it here. I think Vettel's got a car problem, or Raikkonen or something, because we've already broken miles away of these guys. The battling just doesn't stop. The Gasly now in P4 and the Red Bull, he's overtook both Ferrari cars, so something's not right there. Either way, we're looking good at the minute. Pace is really strong. I've selected a bit of a strategy change because I was going to go on for a one-stop with the Ultras onto the softs, but I've looked at my tyre wear and I'm a little bit concerned. My rear tyres, I'm just chewing them up, and I can already notice out of the corners the back end's already going. I'll show you now. Tyre wear is considerably higher than the front tyres, and that's only going to get worse. A one-stop is a bit of a stretch around here, especially with this car and this tyre wear, so I might actually revert to the two, seeing especially the pace that we have at the moment. It might be worth that risk, so I'm currently evaluating my options, but right now I'm sort of leaning towards a two-stop strategy, I think. Right now pace is really strong. This was a really good lap from us into the 113s. Very strong race pace at the moment. We are catching Bottas, which is pretty incredible. This Alfa Romeo is working beautifully around the circuit. I know the AI aren't as strong around here, but even still we've got to make it count for something. Right now though, we're looking very quick and very competitive, so let's hope we can remain that way for the rest of the race. Another personal best, still running at good race pace. I'm going to maybe come in this lap for the two-stop strategy. If I look at my tyre wear, they're getting a little bit better, but the rears are still going. I can feel them any second now. If I make one mistake or overdo it on the traction, it's going to hurt me as I keep bumping the walls. At the moment, I'm sort of, it's touch and go whether I'll come out ahead of that massive train of cars. So with that in mind, I'm hoping I've done enough. With the way the pit exit is at Canada, we'll see what happens, but I might come in as that. Right, we're going to go for it. I'm going to go for the risk and roll the dice for the two-stopper. So let's get it all slowed down for the pit entry. There we go, absolutely perfect. It's a pretty decent pit lane actually. Alonso's come in, I've realised, so he's on a two-stopper as well in the Porsche. So let's see what happens. Got a couple more. Also, I think that's Kimi Raikkonen in there. No, Pierre Gasly on the two-stop as well. So interesting strategies. Here comes the massive train of cars. So we are going to rejoin behind that. But I'm sort of hoping I've timed it so that people will sort of feed out, mixing up with the one-stoppers. So as you can see, those are the faster guys in front of us. The slower guys are behind us. So we're going to rejoin right behind Danny Kvyat here. And the train has sort of broken up a bit now, so it's not too bad. So we can actually push and try and make our way through this little train of cars here, I think. So let's get putting the pressure on straight away on Kvyat. And the good thing about the two-stop as well, I can push every single lap like a qualifying lap. There's no tyre saving involved. So I can just really push to the limit because I know I've got some good pace around here. I'm one of the faster guys. So I want to make it count for something in terms of my race pace. So we'll get on with it, put the pressure on Kvyat and hopefully pass him this lap. It might even be right now into the hairpin, a little bit ragged through there, losing the back end slightly. If I don't get him into the hairpin, it'll be under DRS, so but it's going to be into the hairpin. I knew it was going to be. Just got so much more grip on these tyres, get the move done, and we're going to get the benefit of DRS anyway, so Kvyat won't be re-overtaking me. So we're into P9, and let's keep on making these overtakes. Right, a couple more cars in the pit lane, so we're going to get promoted and regain a few places. There is Valtteri Bottas leaving the pit lane now, so let's see where he comes out. He's going to be neck and neck. He's on the fresh ultras, to be fair to him, so different strategy. I'm going to go into the ultras after at the end of the race, but Bottas there on the ultras. He's going to be a little bit slow, compromised behind Carlos Sainz, so we're going to have a chance here of getting past him maybe. If I can just get a good exit out of this corner, which I never do, then I might have a go, but I think, no, I just cannot get a good exit out of there. The AI is just so strong for that corner. Bottas is going to get the slipstream on Sainz here. I don't think he's going to go for the move just yet, so that is good news. Let's try it and stick with these guys. We'll get a crack of the whip into the hairpin if Bottas doesn't commit to the move, which he does. Oh wait, no he doesn't. He thought better of it, so we're going to slide up the inside instead and make the move. On the power, getting past Sainz as well. Cheeky 2-for-1 overtake. Wasn't expecting it, but we've got it done. We're going to get the DRS as well. So here we go. Open up the rear flap. Sainz is a sitting duck. But look at that Renault still very strong, coming back at me here. And I think Sainz has got DRS somehow. I want to go on the outside into the chicane. Loads of grip on these tyres, and we've made it work. Now Sainz is battling away with Bottas, so we're going to get promoted into P6. Up next we have Nico Hulkenberg, my teammate, Charles Leclerc, who I'm hoping if he's on a one-stop, and then he's right in the mix this race for a good position, because that is his net position, so he would be ahead of Valtteri Bottas. So I'm hoping Charles does go for the one-stop, which I think he is now, so that's good news. We're going to try and get past Nico Hulkenberg here though. We're very close. Good exit. Getting the slipstream to the left-hand side. On the brakes up the inside. And it's a very textbook clean overtake for P5. Okay, out of the hairpin. It's time to overtake our teammate. Bottas has now made the move on Hulkenberg, so he's hunting me down on that ultra soft. We're going to get past Charles Leclerc here, so we're going to pull to the inside. And let's see if Leclerc comes into the pit lane. I'm not going to compromise his pit entry if he does come in, so we'll stick to the inside, but Leclerc does actually stay out for one more lap, so fair play. There we've got a couple of one-stoppers as Vettel comes in for the soft compound tyres. So we're now back into third place. Raikkonen is probably going to come in this lap for the one-stop strategy, so we're looking good for P2 at the minute. All we've got to do now is push on these tyres. Now we've got some clean air and make the two-stop work. Okay, Kimi Raikkonen in the pit lane, onto the soft compound tyres for the one-stop strategy. Across the line, fastest up of the Grand Prix. Got some good race pace at the moment, even faster than Fernando Alonso, even though he is 15 seconds up the road. We're looking very good at the moment and very quick. If we can keep this pace up, then we're going to be securing that second place down. Oh, safety car deployed. Interesting. One of the first safety cars of the season, I think. I can't remember seeing one before. No one's retired though from what I can see, so that's interesting. I wonder what might have happened. Either way, is it worth coming in and getting that last stop out of the way? Okay, I'm going to stay out because I looked at my tyre wear. Tyres look very good. Tyre wear's all good. Alonso's actually come in, interestingly enough. So let's see where he rejoins. We're going to get up to speed. There is Fernando. So if Alonso's made that work, that is a phenomenal stop, and he has. So Alonso, fair play, got the strategy absolutely perfect, and he is now going to the end of the race on those tyres. So fair play to him. I'm going to stay out on these. I think if I can save the fuel, I could push once the safety car restart gets underway. And looking at my tyre wear, this safety car might allow me to potentially go to the end of the race, maybe. We'll see though. That's very sort of an open-ended question. If we can't go to the end, then I'm going to run the rich mix on these tyres and basically just go as fast as I physically can and see how much of a gap I can pull out on the safety car restart. Okay, safety car in this lap. Let's get ready for the restart here. Alonso's going to lead us away in that Porsche on the fresh super softs. He's probably going to be a little bit too quick for me. That car's been so fast all weekend, especially, you know, with those fresh super softs, he might be a bit too much to match, but we'll try our best. All I'm focused on now is trying to follow Alonso as much as I can, stay as close as I can, and try and pull away from the pack, because if I do have to come in again, I need to get out as much of a gap as possible and give myself the best possible chance of finishing as hard as I can this race. So pressure's on, let's make it work, and let's get to work. Alonso 13 dead, switching it on, picking up the pace here, getting on with it, and I think it's a yellow flag at the Wall of Champions. Dare I say, I saw something flash up on the screen for a moment there. But either way, we're looking good so far. I can definitely hold on. I'm scheduled to come in around lap 24, so if I have to extend it by a lap or two thanks to that safety car, then I will. But I'm definitely thinking, and I'm just looking like I'm going to have to come in again, I've got to be honest. Alonso really just getting on with it now, really pushing hard. We managed to shake off Bottas, but pace just isn't there, and we're dropping off a little bit now. I could get to the end. I mean, I could, but I will have absolutely no tyres left at the end. So I think for precaution more than anything, I want to come in, because around here you can't really race with 60% worn tyres. It feels horrible. You need your front end and your rear end especially. So I'm going to have to make the stop around lap 25. I think I'm going to come in. I'm going to try and extend it one more lap, because right now we're looking good. I reckon we can still come out in a pretty good pocket of space and still inside the top 10 if we keep on pushing at this rate. Okay, Bottas comes in, so we're going to be racing him now for the next couple of laps. I'm going to try and stay out for a few more. He's going to try and go for the undercut. So different strategies. Let's see how it works out. Okay, I'm going to come in this lap and see where we rejoin. We're going to come in for the ultra softs, so we are going to be fast, and also I have a nice bit of rich mix to use once we come back out of the pit lane. So here we go into the pit lane, final stop of the race, onto a fresh set of the ultra soft compound tyres. It's going to be good. It's going to be a very enjoyable final stint, put it that way. So hopefully, I think we should be okay to rejoin within the top 10. That's for certain now. I'm pretty sure I've done enough. The pace on the restart was very strong. Only slightly on Alonso every single lap, but Alonso was just too strong every single lap to keep up with. But there's Verstappen and there's Sainz, and I'm guessing the next car is Bottas. So look at that, we have managed to actually stay ahead. We had a bit of a gap to Valtteri, so we've managed to make it work, and Leclerc is right behind him. So we're in P7 on fresh ultras. I think we can still finish in the top 5 here if we get on with this. So let's crack on with it, and let's get past Carlos Sainz. I'm literally pushing him through these corners here. We're extremely close. I'm waiting so I can get the DRS. I'm sort of just getting out of the throttle a bit. We're going to pull to the inside and make the move on the braking to the hairpin. Nicely executed. On the power, nice and early, and there we go. We're going to pick up the DRS as well, just for good measure. And we'll get it on the pit straight as well. So Sainz shouldn't get back past me unless he's running rich mix, which I doubt he's doing. Although he's keeping up with me fairly well, to be fair. That Renault going nicely. But we're going to hold on to this position now. So let's chase after Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. And also, I'm going to crank up to rich mix. Or actually, I'm going to wait until we clear these next few cars. Okay, DRS on Max Verstappen here. We're going to get nice and close going into the chicane, so I can then hopefully attempt to pass him on the home stretch. On the brakes nice and late. Over the chicane. Past the Wall of Champions. Fantastic exit. And there we go with DRS on Verstappen. We're going to pull to the right hand side. Hopefully I get in front before the first corner. And I do. A little bit of a lock up in the process, but we get the move done. And we're into the P5. Up next, Lewis Hamilton on them soft compound tyres. Let's go get past him. Oh, we've got a yellow flag into the hairpin. I think that's Danny Kvyat, who just retired from the Grand Prix. So we can't pass Lewis just yet, but I am very close and looking very much like I'm going to pass him now. So here we go out of the hairpin. I'm going to push up to rich mix now. We've got plus 3 laps to use, so we're going to fly past Lewis Hamilton here. The straight line speed difference is pretty staggering with rich mix enabled. And we've got Vettel and Raikkonen battling out for P2 at the moment, just in front of us here. So we could still recover the position that we was in originally, and that would officially sort of complete the strategy and make it a success as we go faster again. Another fast lap of the Grand Prix. Let's go after these Ferraris and see if we can get that second place back. Even faster still, 1 minute 12.1, or pretty much a 1 minute 12.2 dead. But we're now within range of Kimi and Vettel this lap, so we're going to start putting the pressure on these red cars and try and reclaim our second place. We've still got 5 whole laps to go here, so it's very likely. Here we go, great exit, right on the back of Kimi Raikkonen. We're going to pick up the DRS here. Raikkonen goes defensive, but I'm having absolutely none of it as I got the inside of the hairpin, making the move with efficiency and overall just great speed. Now up into 3rd place, and the good thing here is I'm within Vettel's pretty much range for DRS as well, so we're going to gain a lot with the rich mix here on this back straight. Vettel's defenseless, and it's going to put us right on the back of him into the chicane. And similar to Verstappen, we're going to be right on the back of him coming out of this chicane. And there we go, phenomenal exit. We're going to go to the inside this time. Vettel goes for the squeeze. Oh my god, he's put me in the wall. Jesus, Vettel, mate, come on. Space. I've got grass on my tyres, and I'm going across turn 2 here. I'm going to have to be careful. Vettel, though, very, very risky driving there. Bit too much in my opinion. We're going to have to get going again, but I've got grass on my tyres still. I can feel it. I'm understeering at the moment, so I'm going to go down to standards here. That little bit of rich mix that I got left for another attempt. Well, we're up and running again, back to normal pace. So we're now faster than the Vettel. We're going to be right on the back of him, going through sectors 1 and 2. Do I even dare wait until the back straight, or try and pass him before? You know what? I'm going to try and pass him before. I'm going to try and get him into the left-hander of the first sector split. Nicely done through there. Rich mix. There we go. Getting the exit to the left-hand side. On the brakes, super late. Making the move. And there we go. Back into 2nd place. That was a phenomenal, emphatic overtake. And one that I've produced with relative ease. I'm going to keep him rich mix to try and break away from the DRS of Sebastian. And that way we'll be in a clear-cut 2nd place. Here we go. Then on to the final lap of the Grand Prix. Onto the back straight, we've got 8-second gap to Vettel. We've been so strong in this final stint. These tyres have been absolutely phenomenal. But Fernando Alonso is once again a race winner in Formula 1 for the first time since Bahrain, I believe. He wins a race and extends his championship lead. Finally, Porsche have bounced back, but we come home in a well-deserved 2nd place and a phenomenal race pace on Sunday compared to qualifying on Saturday. We really went well here, and the car was absolutely majestic to drive. So looking at the final race results, and Fernando Alonso wins the Canadian Grand Prix ahead of Mick Schumacher and Sebastian Vettel rounding out the podium. Lewis Hamilton in P4 missing out ahead of Kimi Raikkonen, with Max Verstappen in P6 in the first of the Rebels there. Valtteri Bottas P7 ahead of Carlos Sainz, and Charles Leclerc in P9 just ahead of Pierre Gasly in the 2nd Red Bull, rounding out the top 10. Stoffel Van Dorn unfortunately in the McLaren just missing out on points there, and also Kevin Magnussen as well in the Haas car missing out. But in terms of the Drivers' Championship after that race, as you can see, Alonso now extends his lead to 14 points. However, in 2nd place now, Mick Schumacher in the Sauber Alfa Romeo, and you have to start asking the question, is that Sauber capable of giving a championship, challenge and overall a championship title fight? We'll have to wait and see. Sebastian Vettel drops down to P3, 1 point behind the Sauber now, and for Lewis Hamilton in P4. Overall, the top 20 covered by 20 points, extremely close in the championship after 6 races, with Pierre Gasly and Kimi Raikkonen in 5th and 6th matched on points there. Max Verstappen overtakes Esteban Ocon for P7, with Valtteri Bottas and Charles Leclerc running out the top 10, with Leclerc re-overtaking Hulkenberg for 10th place in the championship. In the Constructors, finally, Ferrari lead the way by 10 points ahead of Porsche, and Mercedes currently sitting pretty in P3, with Sauber only 3 points behind, so you never know, that could still be a bit of an interesting battle, with Red Bull in P5 lurking in the shadows, with Renault, McLaren and Martini Williams staying completely unchanged, with Jaguar and Haas yet to score any points this season. But if you guys have enjoyed this episode of the Mick Schumacher Career Mode, guys, then drop a like on the video. Let's try and smash 150 likes. Also, do get subscribed for daily Formula 1 and MotoGP content, turn on notifications, and finally check out these 2 videos on screen if you have missed them. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next episode very soon. Goodbye.